Did you know that nearly 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck? And that includes people making six figures. I'm not kidding. A big salary doesn't automatically mean you're set for retirement. In this video, I'm pulling back the curtain on the budgeting secrets that actually separate wealthy retirees from everyone else. These aren't complicated strategies. They're simple moves that make all the difference. After helping hundreds of clients transform their financial futures, I've noticed something important. Budgeting isn't about cutting back or feeling restricted. It's about giving every dollar a job that builds your wealth. If you want to retire rich, not just survive, but actually live well, you've got to learn how to budget like the wealthy do. I know how it sounds. The word budgeting sounds boring. But this isn't about cutting out coffee or clipping coupons. This is about giving your money a job and making sure it works for you. Think of budgeting as the foundation that makes everything else possible. In the next few minutes, I'll share proven strategies that work whether you're drowning in debt or already saving. The tips I will give you will speed up your path to a comfortable, even wealthy retirement. So stick around for the rest of this video. I'm going to make this simple, clear, and practical. Let's get real for a second. Most people aren't on track to have enough savings for retirement. Not even close. The numbers don't lie. The average American has less than $65,000 saved for retirement. That's barely enough to cover a few years of expenses. But most experts agree that you'll need between $750,000 and $1.5 million to retire comfortably. Let's take John's retirement situation as an example. He makes $75,000 a year. A decent income, right? But at age 45, he's only saved $12,000 for retirement. That's not even enough to cover 1 year of expenses when he stops working. And he's actually doing better than many people his age. It's not just John who's going to have this problem. Inflation is eating away at every dollar as the cost of living keeps rising. So even if you're making more than your parents did, you're probably saving less, and your savings will last less during your retirement than theirs. Why is this happening? We're dealing with crushing consumer debt, rising costs that eat away at our daily savings power, and longer-term inflation that makes tomorrow's dollar worth less than today's. And the type of retirement we're saving for? It's getting more expensive every year. But here's where most people have a problem. They try budgeting the wrong way. This causes most budgets to crash and burn within 90 days. A recent study from the Financial Planning Association found that 73% of people who start a budget will abandon it within 3 months. And part of the reason this happens, most people think budgeting is just about saying no. That mindset kills progress and causes people to abandon their budget before it has a chance to make a difference. Think about how diets work for most people. The super restrictive ones never last because they are too hard to stick with. Budgets are the same way. When they're built around deprivation rather than what matters to you, they're doomed to fail. But there is good news. There's a better approach that will make your budget actually stick. Here's the deal. The problem isn't that you spend money. The problem is that you don't tell your money where to go before you start spending it. The first secret to budgeting success is aligning your spending with what you truly care about. Not what your friends care about. Not what social media says you should care about. But what you value and care about. Instead of a budget that makes you feel broke and miserable all the time, this secret method helps you spend on what actually matters to you. We'll start with the 50-30-20 rule, but with a twist. Traditionally, this means 50% of your income goes to needs, 30% to wants, and 20% to savings. But here's the real secret. Within that wants category, spend freely on things you deeply value and cut ruthlessly the things you don't. You personalize this part of the rule. If travel lights you up, but cable TV doesn't, cut the cord and put that money toward plane tickets. A fascinating study from the Journal of Consumer Psychology found something surprising. People who spend money aligned with their personal values report 23% higher satisfaction with their financial lives and stick to their budgets nearly twice as long. Take Sarah, for example. Sarah loves traveling but was always broke. When she examined her spending, she realized she was wasting $200 on cable channels she rarely watched and another $150 eating out. This was done mostly from habit, not enjoyment. By cutting those two unneeded expenses and directing that $350 she saved each month toward travel, she still enjoys her priority experiences while building her savings. That's the value-based approach in action. The second secret. If you are like everyone else, your brain is tired. Mine's tired as well. The fewer decisions we have to make, the better. That's why automation is your best friend when it comes to saving money. Using automation to remove willpower from the equation completely. The reason we want to automate our money decisions is that your brain is wired to prioritize today over tomorrow. It's not your fault, it's just human nature. So, what is the automation solution? Make saving automatic so it happens before you can talk yourself out of it. This is the pay yourself first strategy, updated for today's digital world. When money never hits your checking account, you don't miss it. Set up automatic transfers that happen the day your paycheck lands. Don't give yourself a chance to take the money you need to save and justify spending it on something. If you don't see it, you don't spend it. Michael, who earns about what the average American does, set up an automatic $250 transfer to his investment account every payday. He never sees that money, so he never misses it. After 30 years with an 8% average return, the money he saved turned into over $1.2 million. That's the power of automation combined with time. Some great tools for this include Wealthfront and Betterment for investments, Capital for rules-based savings, and most bank apps which now offer recurring transfers you can set up in minutes. Once it's set up, you're building wealth on autopilot. Our third secret is strategic expense cutting that doesn't feel like sacrifice. Start with what I call the expense audit. Once every 3 months, review every subscription and recurring expense. That means going through every single recurring payment, subscriptions, memberships, delivery services, and asking, do I even use this? Be ruthless. If you haven't used something in 60 days, cut it. Then apply the 10% method. Look at your major expense categories and find ways to trim each by just 10%. That's small enough not to feel painful but adds up dramatically. On housing, maybe that means getting a roommate to help with rent or refinancing your mortgage if you can lower the payment. On transportation, it might mean combining trips to save gas. The final step is what makes this powerful. Expense stacking. Every dollar you save goes directly into investments, creating a money snowball. Jennifer discovered she was spending $267 a month on subscriptions she barely used. This included several streaming services, a few app subscriptions, and a gym membership she only used twice last year. By cutting those expenses and redirecting that money into investments which earned 7% annually, she added over $200,000 to her retirement fund over 25 years. The fourth secret is wiping out high-interest debt fast, which is like giving yourself an immediate, guaranteed return on investment. Debt keeps your future locked up. But there's a strategy to knock it out faster. You've probably heard of the debt snowball method, where you pay off your smallest debts first for psychological wins. Then there's the debt avalanche, where you target the highest interest rates first for maximum mathematical benefit. Both work, but studies show the snowball method gives you quick wins, which help to build confidence in your ability to cut expenses, and that motivates you to keep going. Research from the Journal of Marketing Research found that people who experience early wins are 73% more likely to stick with their debt payoff plan long-term. But here's a strategy most financial advisors won't tell you about: the debt recast. This combines both approaches. Start with the snowball method to build momentum, then once you've eliminated 2 small debts, switch to the avalanche method to optimize your payoff. Let's use Marcus as an example of the debt recast method. Marcus used this combined approach to eliminate $32,000 in credit card debt in just 26 months. That freed up $850 a month. This savings now goes straight into his retirement accounts. At 7% returns over 25 years, that's an additional $650,000 for retirement. Now, here's where magic happens. It's not just about cutting expenses and saving a few bucks. It's about building a wealth multiplication system. Here's what most people do not understand about compound interest. Compound interest just doesn't apply to your investments. It applies to your behaviors as well. When good financial habits compound over time, the results are staggering. When you combine smart budgeting with strategic investing, your money doesn't just sit there. It grows. It multiplies. The key is organizing your money into 3 strategic buckets: a short-term bucket, emergency fund and expenses that occur within 1 year; a mid-term bucket, house down payment, car replacement, expenses that occur between 1 and 5 years; and a retirement bucket, savings that are untouchable until retirement age. Each bucket has different investment strategies. Your retirement bucket should be in tax-advantaged accounts: 401ks, IRAs, and health savings accounts. These accounts give you an immediate tax break or tax-free growth, effectively giving you free money on top of your investment returns. Studies from Vanguard show that saving 15 to 20% of your income throughout your career virtually guarantees financial independence. Most people think that's impossible, but with the strategies we've covered, it's absolutely doable. Take Teresa and Mark as an example. Their combined income never exceeded $85,000, but they religiously followed the system we've described in this video. Starting with just 5% savings, they gradually increased it while automating everything and aligning spending with their values. After 22 years, they had accumulated $1.2 million, enough to retire comfortably in their early 50s. And here's the final secret that makes everything easier: the 1% improvement rule. Instead of trying to save 20% immediately, start where you are today and increase your savings rate by just 1% each year. If you're saving 5% now, bump it to 6% next year, then 7% the year after. In 15 years, you'll be saving 20% without ever feeling the pinch. Each 1% increase is barely noticeable, but the compound effect is massive. Let me show you the math. Starting with saving just 5% of a $50,000 income and increasing by 1% annually, in 20 years you'll be saving 25%. Your savings will have accumulated to be 2.5 times more wealth than if you'd stayed at 5%. That's the difference between retiring with $500,000 versus $1.25 million. Let's bring it all together. We've covered 5 game-changing strategies: value-based budgeting that aligns with what you truly care about, automation that removes willpower from the equation, expense elimination that doesn't feel like sacrifice, debt destruction that frees up cash flow fast, and the wealth multiplication system that compounds everything. Remember, consistent, imperfect action beats perfect plans that never start. You don't need to implement everything today. Even one of these strategies will move the needle. And the best part? These work regardless of your income level. It's about the percentage you save, not the dollar amount. If you take just one action today, set up an automatic transfer of even $50 from each paycheck to savings or investments. That single habit, given enough time, can transform your retirement. Now I'm curious, what's your biggest budgeting challenge? Drop it in the comments. In a future video, I will be diving into how to invest those savings for maximum growth with minimal effort, so hit subscribe and the notification bell so you don't miss it. Remember, financial freedom isn't about having more money. It's about giving your money purpose. Start today and your future self will thank you. Don't just plan to retire rich. You've got this.